Today on the show, we're going to be talking about Klarion, the Witch Boy. If you didn't know that Klarion is a prime example of why the New 52 was necessary, then this show is for you. So, Klarion Bleak. First appearing in Jack Kirby's The Demon number 7 in 1973. For the sake of this video, we are going to focus on Grant Morrison's Klarion more than anyone else's for two reasons. One, because his story was put together a lot better, and two, he did a lot more things. This being said, it is necessary to at least touch on all of his history, so we're going to start at the beginning in 1973. So when Klarion first appeared, he was from a dimension called Witch World, and everyone in this dimension could use black magic, but Klarion was actually considered a child in this dimension, and that meant it was dictated what kind of magic he could use and what he could do with his life, and he did not like that at all. So, to rebel against this control, he used magic to come to Earth with his familiar Tikal, and the two of them travelled around the world learning magic. Klarion would actually cause chaos wherever he went, and Etrigan the demon would actually try sending him home multiple times. Klarion would also cross paths with Wonder Woman, step on the Flash's toes, and irritate Batman, and just cause a whole mess of things. Skipping forward a number of years, and we would see Klarion yet again in Young Justice: Sins of Youth. Here, he would turn all of the adult superheroes into children, and all of the sidekicks into adults, and it was insane. Now this event could get its own video, and it will eventually, but what you need to take note of is that in this incarnation, Klarion was actually a lot less malicious and a lot more playful, but also physically younger. Naturally, this implies that it's a younger version of Klarion, but this did not make sense for a really long time. Eventually, the Seven Soldiers event would come about and the details surrounding Klarion would be retconned. Klarion is now from this subterranean town called Limbo Town, and everyone in this town can use magic, and all the people from this town disappeared from the surface of the earth centuries ago. What's really ironic about these witch people is that they are brought up in this obscure Puritan environment. Examples of this is that everyone in the town is forced not to think about the world beyond their town, and when Klarion was asking questions about it, this guy called Submissionary Judah stopped Klarion from asking questions. Now, whereas traditional Puritans are totally against witchcraft, all of these Puritans use necromancy, and it's actually a vital part of their civilization. Also, everyone in the town has a familiar. Klarion's familiar, for example, is this ginger cat called Tikal. It is worth saying that over the years, Tikal has changed gender multiple times. Sometimes he's a boy, sometimes she's a girl, and it's just really confusing. Eventually, a spine rider of the Shida would arrive in town, and everyone in the town would panic. The submissionaries would transform into their horrible state, which is something that only witch men can do, and basically a horrible is where a witch man merges with his familiar. They still have their intelligence, but they become this giant, powerful beast, and this state is only reversible by a witch woman. However, something went wrong and the Horrigal would begin attacking the witch men in town, including Klarion's father, so Klarion went to warn everyone in the rest of the town what was going on. However, it would turn out that he's actually being followed by the monster, and he would have to run upwards into the outside world, but he would be separated from Tikal in the process. Klarion would end up in the Manhattan subway system, and the Horrigal who was chasing him would end up getting hit by a train. After this, he would be taken in by Ebenezer Bad, who was another person from Limbo Town, find a father box, almost be sold into slavery by Ebenezer Bad, and then defeat Bad and go out to see the world. Now we're into the meat of Klarion's part of the Seven Soldiers comics, and I really do want to save the fine details for my Seven Soldiers video, but I am going to give you all the key information that you need to understand what the hell is going on. Basically, Klarion would be taken in by this guy called Melmoth, and he'll be given food and a place to stay. But it would turn out that Melmoth was just using Klarion to get to Limbo Town because Melmoth created the original witch men and witch women. Now Melmoth wanted to hurt everyone in Limbo Town, but Klarion decides to leave him after finding this out and is just like, you know what, I don't want anything to do with this guy because he's clearly bad news. By this point, Tikal had turned back up, and Tikal convinces Klarion to go back to Limbo Town to try and save everyone in the town because it's his duty. When Klarion returned to the town and tried telling everyone what he'd seen in the outside world, they tried burning him at the stake for blasphemy because to them, there is no outside world. Melmoth would then turn up and this stops the burning and the whole town is sent into panic, and Klarion goes to the alarm bell, and here he finds sub-missionary Judah dying. Judah is basically like, look, I'm dying, I'm going to die, there's nothing you can do to fix it, but you need to become a witch man and become a Horrigal. So he teaches Klarion how to become a Horrigal, and Klarion merges with Tikal. Now in this Horrigal state, Klarion has a fight with Melmoth and defeats him, but it is worth saying that Klarion is not able to kill Melmoth because Melmoth is immortal. After this, Klarion is told that he can become a full-time sub-missionary if he wants to, but he doesn't want to, and he goes back out to the outside world. Now here is a really interesting fact that I love. So Klarion would appear once in Infinite Crisis, and this is where Grant Morrison says Klarion goes back in time and does his stint in Jack Kirby's The Demon series. Shortly after Infinite Crisis, a second Klarion would actually appear in the Robin series in issues 157 and 158. Robin has no memory of anyone named Klarion, ever, which is really weird. Also, this Klarion is good, kind of. He dubs Robin a hero at the end of their arc together. Now this can mean two things. Either there are two Klarions and one's from another dimension and came over in Infinite Crisis, or the original Klarion was wiped from history and rewritten in Infinite Crisis, which is kind of common for minor characters in Crisis storylines. In Countdown, Klarion had a brief spat with Mary Marvel. You see, Mary Marvel actually got Black Adam's powers, but couldn't control them. So Klarion goes up to Mary Marvel and is all like, you know, if you give me a little bit of that power, I can help you control them. But then he tries to steal all of the power, so Mary defeats him. He is also featured in the Superman, Batman, Sorcerer King storyline, in which, in the future, it is revealed that he is a member of the Justice League. Now here is where things get confusing and continuity gets lost and messed up. Basically, Klarion meets up with Stephanie Brown as Batgirl, and the two of them have to go to Limbo Town and stop Tikal from going on a rampage. This is actually a prime example of why the New 52 was necessary. DC's continuity was a mess, and it was beyond repair. If DC's continuity is repairable, they do a storyline like Final Crisis or Infinite Crisis. But in that occasion, it was a total mess beyond repair, and the New 52 was the only way to fix it. I personally really like Klarion. He hasn't made a New 52 appearance to date, but I have some ideas, as always, on how we can get him to appear. So for those of you that are unaware, it was just announced that the Teen Titans is starting back up again in July. Have Klarion join the Teen Titans, but have Tikal join the Justice League Dark. They could have individual stories where one is looking for his familiar and the other is looking for his master, but then eventually the Teen Titans and Justice League Dark cross over, and Klarion transforms into a Horrigal and defeats whatever bad guy that they're against. And then after the storyline, give Klarion his own comic. Please, I really like him and I want to see it. All this being said, I have heard rumblings of Limbo Town being featured in a storyline sometime soon, and I'm excited for that. I do want to note that I haven't heard anything official, just whispers here and there from friends in the industry. Nonetheless, whatever happens with this character, I'm excited for it, because you really can't mess Klarion up unless you're really bad at writing. And I mean really bad at writing. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. If you think I missed anything important about Klarion the Witch Boy, please let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history, and also don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective.